I think I'm truly shocked how much I've scaled and how much growth has come out of this business in the last year. I knew of success stories on Whatnot and other businesses. I just never thought that would be me. I never thought a girl who was new in the industry, 2 years in women's fashion, who has nothing but finance in her background, would be able to succeed in an industry she knows nothing about.
Maybe Zoreen Kabani didn't know anything about running a business focused on fashion, but that is definitely where her interest lies. Well, hi there, and thanks for joining us here at the Side Hustle Hero podcast. It's the show that is laser focused to inspire you to take action to start or to scale your side hustle income streams. I'm your host, Joan Posavy, author of The Way Success Works. Have you ever heard of Whatnot? I didn't until recently. But that's not too surprising because shopping is close to the bottom of my things that I like to do list. I think my sister got all the shopping genes in my family. She's really good at it. Me? Not so much. But something that is on the top of my list is any side hustle that is legal and lucrative. Whatnot is a platform where vendors live stream their products. How busy is it? The senior manager of public relations told me that there are 200 items currently being sold every minute on Whatnot. The vast majority of Whatnot sellers are doing it part-time on the platform. Therein lies the side hustle opportunity. That is, if you like to buy and sell products. There are over 50 categories to sell in, including trading cards, comics, clothing, and collectibles. We're joined today by Zoreen Kabani, who at first dove in part-time. But after finding success and an incredible fulfillment, after a few months, she made it her very full-time work, where she now nets a six-figure income. And she's only been doing it for about 2 years. Zoreen tells us how it all works, what makes her successful on the platform, challenges that she's had to overcome, and insider tips on gaining traction. And while you're plotting your side hustle success, if you're enjoying what you're hearing in this podcast and you'd like to show your support, a fun way is to head on over to sidehustlehero.com/support, where you can shoot me over a large soy latte or maybe a double espresso. It really is a thing at sidehustlehero.com/support. Thank you from the bottom of my coffee cup. And if you're not already a subscriber, please join us by hitting the subscribe button. It just takes a sec and it really helps our ranking. Thank you so much. Now here is my conversation with a Whatnot top seller, Zoreen Kabani. Well, welcome, Zoreen.
Thank you.
Well, as a top seller on Whatnot, you know your way around the platform. Please give us a crash course, what it is, because a lot of people haven't heard of it yet, and how it works.
Yeah, Whatnot is a live selling platform. I believe it's been around for about 4 years now. I am part of the women's fashion category, which is one of the newest categories. It's been around for about a year and a half, around 2 years. And this is a platform where it's like a marketplace. So we have a lot of sellers. They go live. We can go live any time of the day. It's 24 hours. And
Wow.
when we go live, people have the ability to come shop with us. So it's kind of like a next day age take on a shopping. So not only are you seeing your items presented to you like you would have in a marketplace, but you have a connection you're building with a live seller. It's a community-based platform, and you can buy something instantly and have it shipped within 2 days and get it to your doorstep within a week. So it's phenomenal.
That's crazy. That's almost sound like the shopping channel on steroids.
Exactly.
So instead of the person tuning into one channel, they're basically picking and choosing, I guess, their area of interest.
That's exactly right. And there's so many areas of interest and so many sellers with different types of inventories that they bring to the platform. It is truly a most unique, diverse experience. It is phenomenal.
And how did you get involved?
So my brother actually was somebody who joined Whatnot before me. I was in finance for 13 years. I'm an ex-financial advisor. My entire education and background is in finance. And I was kind of at a lull in my life, I think. I was just seeking creativity, passion, and it's something I wasn't able to really do given what I was doing in the past in the corporate culture. And I thought about quitting my job, and my brother said, "Hey, I'm selling out Whatnot. It's phenomenal. They're introducing women's fashion. I know you love clothing, you love fashion. Why don't you try this as like a side hustle until you figure out what your next line of job is or what you want to do?" And that's how I got introduced to Whatnot.
And how long were you doing Whatnot as a side hustle before you thought, okay, there's definitely something here?
Yeah, actually pretty quickly. I think I started tackling it on and I kind of became addicted to the app like most people do. It is so much fun. It's interactive. You start to build friends on there. So I would say within a month, I was rocking and rolling and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to try to do this. And I didn't plan for it to become a full-time job. I just ended up just falling into it given the fact that I started seeing so much success on the platform.
So the finance work that you were doing, was it sort of home-based commission? So this made it easier to get into?
Yeah, I think so. I think my past definitely helped me become a better live streamer. So I was in finance and I dealt with a lot of sales with people. So I've been in sales industry dealing with finance for 13 years. So talking to people, having to show them a product that I like is not new to me. This was just way more fun. So instead of talking about stocks, bonds, and investments, I'm now talking about cute clothes. So you can't go wrong with that. I fell right into it. I loved it.
That's fabulous. So when did you go full time?
Okay, so I started the platform right at the end of May 2022, beginning of June. And then I would say within 2 months, July, August, I just kind of experimented. I dove right in. And I think by August, I was like, I'm going to do this full time. I think I can do this. So pretty quickly,
No hesitation?
no hesitation. I think that's just my personality, though. Once I'm in, I'm all the way in. There's no messing around.
Well, you're certainly all in because looking at your Whatnot page, it shows that in under 2 years now, 58,300 items sold.
Yeah,
If I'm
crazy.
looking at just like really round numbers of 50 weeks a year, 5 days a week, that's averaging like 117 sales a day.
Yeah, and actually it's far greater than that because in
Okay,
that number, we actually, in fact, do bundles of clothing. So, for instance, it might record one sale, but I could have held up four items and sold them all together as one batch. So,
got it.
technically, that number is even higher, but you're right. It averages quite a bit of sales per day.
So how does that work for you that that is humanly possible?
So this is the thing. With whatnot, it is humanly possible as long as you're looking for it to become like a quite like you work really hard. So
Yes,
I think one thing that is about this job is I always joke around with people around me. I definitely had it. I definitely worked the corporate hours in my finance job, the typical 60 to 80. But this is the hardest I've ever worked in my entire life. But it has been the most rewarding financially and also tangibly rewarding that I've ever had in a job. So it's definitely possible and whatnot to make sales as many as you want per day, but you just got to put in the work for it.
and are those 58,000, is that all live? Is that you showing up something and it being bought, or is there also an online auction component to the platform?
So there's a few ways you can actually make sales on whatnot. My particular business is truly all live selling.
Wow,
However, we do have access to a marketplace on whatnot. So let's just say I wanted to list things, a bunch of tank tops or anything cute, and I had a little marketplace listing. If a user was in whatnot, they were searching for a particular item, my listing would show up. They could hit purchase right there. It would go to my email. I would have a label generated, and I would ship that item out to them. So really there's a few ways you can work on whatnot. You can do it both different ways. For me, primarily that number comes from live selling and presenting those items during the stream.
so you
Mhm.
warehouse all the inventory that you're selling.
I do. It's nuts, but I do.
Do you have a storage unit or something that you rent, or you have room at home?
Mm. No, so this is the thing. My story kind of started back in Texas where I was in a less than 700 square foot apartment. Okay. This was a one bedroom unit with my two little pups. Now, when I was in finance, that was more than sufficient space. I did not anticipate growing into this business. So when I was in Texas, let's just say every inch of that apartment place was taken over by inventory, packages. It was very claustrophobic. So last year in May, my younger brother who resides in Vegas encouraged me to move out here to Vegas. And he's like, you know what? You can get a house here. It's lower standard of living costs. And you can just see how it goes since you want to scale. So scalability was a big part of my business since now, I was about a year in back then. So back in May, I moved to Vegas. I do have a home now, which is like a two-story house. So the upstairs is mine to kind of call it home. Downstairs is entirely business. So the garage to every single room is nothing but inventory.
Oh, that's fun.
Yes. So no storage unit right now, no warehouse right now. That is in the near, I think, projected scenario. However, right now I'm fully operating out of my house.
Sure, which anyone could start, and certainly to be able to keep the cost down that way, you know,
Absolutely.
like you did with your 700 square foot place.
Exactly. And it truly helped me, I think, excel because my overhead costs were so low for about a year when I did that.
Well, how much of a challenge then, since you're going through that kind of volume, how much of a challenge is it for you to find items to sell?
I will say this, in the beginning, it was a little bit of a challenge. However, being somebody who was super obsessed with fashion from the get-go, I was so used to thrifting and figuring out sales and going to mall or doing retail arbitrage online. It came very naturally to me because I think shopping is in my blood. My mom loves it. I love it. We just were naturally good at shopping, right? Now, to achieve the type of volume I'm achieving right now, that required quite a bit of due diligence with suppliers, research, making connections, networking. And now being 2 years in, it's kind of like a well-oiled machine where opportunities present themselves to me, and I also am very proactively spending quite a bit of time researching the type of resources I want in my business. So right now, it's not as much of a challenge. In the beginning, it was, but I think that's the beautiful thing about Whatnot is the scalability of it. You just
Mhm.
work your way into the process. No
Then
problem.
give me an idea then of who you would be buying from.
Yeah, so it could be anything. So sometimes it could be a brand that's looking to do a full liquidation. Let's just say it might be a mom and pop boutique store, and they just aren't able to run this business any longer for whatever reason there might be. And I might
Yeah.
just be like, okay, you know what? I'll buy out your entire store. It could be a connection or a brand that's liquidating, and there's wholesalers that will reach out to you and say, well, we have X, Y, and Z units. Would you like to buy this out? It could be somebody that you just know through you could go to like like a Goodwill, or you could go to anybody and be like, you know what, I'm gonna give you access to the back. We have all of this inventory sitting here. Would you like to have first stab at it? Like, you start to make connections with people, and it's funny how it starts rolling in. So there's a
Yeah.
different, and I still do the old school way. I still go online. I still look at things online on sale or retail arbitrage. I have an eye for fashion. I'll be like, you know what, I'll buy this. And I know it will do well in my live streams because my customers are busy. They don't have time to do this due diligence. I can do it for them, provide it for them. So it works out great.
So you had that eye for fashion anyway, and now add on to that your experience with Whatnot. When you go into a place like Value Village and they're saying, "Hey, we've got this stuff you've got access to," you've got that eye now, knowing what your customers want to buy or not.
Absolutely.
And are you getting any help with that, or are you currently a team of one?
So I actually do have help now. One of my biggest goals when I started this career path was to be able to get my mom to quit her job. Both my parents had worked really, really hard their whole life to provide for the three of us, myself and my two brothers. So
Okay.
the first person I retired right away when I was able to was my mother.
Aw,
So
nice.
yeah, so that's great. And then since I moved to Vegas, my dad was also able to retire. So they
Mm.
work with me kind of like a part-time situation. They both help out. And then I do have my right hand, who's my assistant, and this is a 21-year-old that I was introduced through my brother, who's also a rock star. And so now we have a team of four. Technically, I am truly the person who runs it all,
Yes,
sources, live streams, but I do have a little bit of help in the background.
including, video production help or that
Yes.
all yeah, okay.
I no, I actually do it all. So right
Yeah,
now,
uh,
any sort of social media marketing, any sort of marketing when it comes to my project, it's all done by me right now.
okay, and that wasn't something that a person in finance would necessarily be skilled at. I noticed on your Instagram following, you have, what, 18,800 followers? How did that happen?
So you know what? I actually went back. You're right. I had no experience in that. I started my Instagram with 100 people, which was just under 2 years ago because it was just family and friends that followed me, right?
Sure.
And then I started to notice a pretty, like a correlation. So like if you're a live streamer and everything is based on your personality and how you present and people are truly invested in you and your business,
Yeah.
I knew I would have to ramp up my social media channels in order to bring traffic to Whatnot from the social media channels or to show my traffic on Whatnot some creative fashion aspect of my styling on Instagram or TikTok. So I just started putting a true full effort as of last year ago into those making those reels or those TikToks where I style, I show the new inventory coming in. And I genuinely have a blast doing it. It's so much fun to do social media content, but it was kind of a learning curve. I learned as I went. I watched tutorials. on YouTube. I edited, and I'm still by no means an expert, but it's been a lot of fun to grow this following and to see the reap the rewards of it. Because I do have people that will come over from IG and they will download whatnot and they'll be like, "Oh, I found you through your reel on Instagram," and they'll shop with me. It's very rewarding to see.
I figured there was a correlation there because now I take a look at your Whatnot page and you've got over 46,000 followers there. So congratulations.
Right. Thank you.
And the other cool piece of that too is you've got over 16,000 reviews on Whatnot,
Yes.
which is pretty outstanding as far as, well, proof of the service that you offer. And I noticed with IG, it's actually an engaged following. I mean, you've got a lot of comments and feedbacks and likes. And did that originate though through paid ads? Are you still doing paid ads?
Yeah, so sometimes I do promotional ads. However, what I've learned with my recent following is if I, and this took me a while to understand, like I said, social media is also a learning curve, but I've learned if I do a reel or a TikTok where it's a open-ended question asked in there, I see a lot of engagement naturally. So for instance, I posted a reel yesterday and I said, which dress should I keep? And I tried on 5 different dresses. Those were actually going to be released that night into a stream. It was a special premium stream I was doing with premium clothing. I tried on 5 cute dresses, and then the comments are filled with, you should keep one, you should keep two. And it's a lot of debate. And some people are, you should keep none. So it truly is really fun. But now it's a lot of natural engagement. I did sometimes promote if I would have a big stream or a really fun reel idea where I put in a lot of effort in creating that reel. But right now, it's a lot of automatically flowing in and out traffic on those reels now.
So how long would something like that 5 dress video take you?
Actually, I'm a lot faster than I thought.
Okay.
One thing I did was I cheated the system a little bit. And what I mean by that is, so right now, if you watch my reels, I'm standing in front of a mirror and I put my phone in front of my face and I'm mainly focusing on the outfit I have.
Yes.
So that helped me with 2 things. One, it brought the entire focus to the outfit in question. So my entire audience is looking at nothing but what I'm wearing, which is exactly what I'm trying to do with showcase the inventory I'm bringing to my stream. And the number 2 things that it helped me with is having to not put on a face, with social media. Sometimes we seek perfection. I mean, at least I'm a secret perfectionist. I won't lie. I want to do my hair. I want to make sure my makeup is on point before I'm going to film a reel. And I noticed that was a big roadblock for me for being able to produce content. So the moment I took a phone and put it in front of my face, and I'm no longer concerned of what my face looks like, I am now generating content so freaking fast. So that helped me. That helped me get a lot more efficient. So now I will say probably 30 to 40 minutes of filming and then maybe 15 to 20 minutes of editing. So about an hour or so, but then it does take me some time to like actually create the content, figure out what's going in there, but it's not too lengthy of a time anymore.
I did watch that reel yesterday and I looked at that and I just thought it was like 1 or 2 dresses. And then there was a third and the fourth and a fifth. And I thought, oh man, this girl is putting in some time here. And I
Yeah.
noticed the phone in front of the face, but didn't think about it enough to realize sort of one of the ideas behind it or one of the reasons behind it. That's brilliant. I love that.
Thank you.
So yes, that engagement is very apparent. But there must have been a time, or was there, did it happen automatically where you started trying to make it interactive, asking those questions and not getting any feedback?
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
I think people on social media look for consistency. And if that's what I've learned, and it is something I've struggled with myself with social media, is where I would see lack of effort in growth. So whenever I would do a reel and then I've disappeared for a week and I haven't posted another one, people start to lose that connectivity to you, just like it would in a live streaming process. I think that's why the both are so connected together. So
Okay.
once I started to truly become a regular real producer or a social content was pushed out every single day, I started to see a pretty good flow of it. But you're right. In the beginning, it started with 3 comments and then 5 comments and then 7 comments. And then now I make an effort in my live stream to say, hey guys, I did post a reel. If you guys like what you see, feel free to let me know. And this way it causes more engagement because sometimes people are watching. I mean, if you even put yourself in those shoes, how many times do we scroll through a reel and we love it, but we don't necessarily comment or heart because it's such a normal process of our day to day, like watching our social
Right.
media content.
Yeah.
So now I'm truly trying to create that engagement. So I think it doesn't hurt to ask for it either.
So you're literally posting now 5 days a week?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Do you have a day
Mhm.
off or two?
See, I laugh really loud at that because that is something I'm not privy to at this point, but that's by choice. So
Yes.
right now, I'm streaming 6 days a week. My schedule right now is to stream pretty much I skip Tuesday. So I start Wednesday, I go through Monday. I take Tuesday off, and Tuesday's the day I call my sourcing day. And in the world of fashion, sourcing means where you go out and you'll source products. So that could
Hmm.
be through retail arbitrage or thrifting or whatever it may be. And so Tuesdays is my day to truly go out there and be creative, which is the part of my job that I enjoy, which is bringing
Yes,
amazing products to my customer. So technically it's my day off, but it's not really because I still put in a full 8 hours that day sourcing. But
right.
one day.
Yes. Well, the fact that you've seen this growth take place knows that, okay, at this point, when I hit these objectives, then I've got the ability to hire more and, take those days off and treat yourself occasionally.
Absolutely. And
You know,
speaking of that, I'm going on a vacation next week for 2 days and I'm very excited about it. So so it's happening very soon, Joe, and I'm excited.
good for you. Well,
Thank you.
let's talk about earnings for a sec.
Yeah.
What has that been for you revenue wise over the last year?
So last year I was truly able to scale once I moved to Vegas and was able to get a bigger space. So it truly depends month to month because retail or clothing goes to a cycle of highs and lows depending on the time of the year. I
Sure.
would say every month right now it's six figures in average gross sales. So like every week I could range anywhere from, it could be 35K to 50K depending on that week and what volume we have, what kind of inventory we ran. And then in a yearly basis, right now we're grossing over seven figures. And this year, my goal is to double what I did last year. So we're going pretty hard.
Wow. And we're talking like just under 2 years for you in this, isn't it?
That's correct.
And obviously that's gross revenues. So there's the cost of the product, there's the platform fees. What do you think you're actually sticking in your pocket after all those costs?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to say six figures, but definitely I think it is a little bit something that I need to hone down more on is the cost of everything because of course I understand what everything costs and then there's labor associated with that. What right now is the part that's a little bit ambiguous is my personal work that goes
Yes.
in since I am like a 24/7 type of employee. And that kind of goes without saying when you own your own business. So
Yeah.
definitely have a lot of costs associated with that. And there's fees we pay to the platform as well. But yes, we're knock on wood, we're doing pretty well right now.
Yeah. So you're pretty confident that you're earning around that six figures for the year.
Absolutely.
And what are the platform fees like?
Yeah, so there's a few fees that go into the platform. There's a fee that Whatnot charges for doing business on their platform,
Of course.
which
Yeah.
is like 8% plus. And then there is a transactional fee, which is about 2.9% for every transaction, kind of like a processing fee or a credit card fee. And then there's a 30 cents per transaction fee. All in all, I think when you kind of like calculated when you're doing a payout, it's roughly around 14%. It might be a little shy of that, might be a little higher than that, depending on how many transactions you did per item. But that's about the average cost of goods
Okay.
on the platform.
And you're shipping from your location in Las Vegas, right?
Correct.
And who pays the shipping cost?
So the customer pays the shipping cost. Whatnot has a phenomenal shipping partnership with the local post offices and stuff, and I'm sure they create a contract. So shipping is actually quite affordable on Whatnot, and it gets better as customers bundle more and buy more than one item. So it gets cheaper as they bundle more items. But customer pays for shipping, and then we get the labels generated right after a stream, and we ship it out the next day.
Ah, so who sets the shipping cost?
Whatnot,
Oh, I see. Okay. And
and it's based on weight.
so how would they know that? So maybe walk us through that process. You've gone on this amazing shopping spree where you've gotten
Right.
an order delivered to you. What happens in terms of your interaction with those items and the platform?
Absolutely. So we'll kind of start from scratch. So the item gets delivered to me. We now are processing these items, figuring out what came in, what it cost us, how much came in. We have a whole inventory list generated. At that point, I'm now scheduling my streams, figuring out when I would like to roll out that inventory. So let's say that's the next day. I am now going on social media, letting my customers know this is coming in. They have a heads up. The stream is now scheduled. They're able to bookmark it, get notifications for it. So they know exactly what's coming to them the next day. Usually a streamer will have a tentative schedule. They go live on every single day. So there's predictability. So the next day I'm live. Now I have a storefront. Technically, it's an online storefront per each stream where I can list the items I'm going to roll out. So let's say it's a pair of shoes. It might be 1 to 2 pounds. So I'll have that listed at shoes, 1 to 2 pounds. Now, when a customer buys That's how Whatnot knows how to charge that customer. It's
Got
based
it.
on that weight preference versus clothing. It'll be a lot lighter and we'll choose that accordingly. So it just depends what items are being rolled out for that stream for the customer to get the shipping cost that they need to pay for that item.
Got it. So you're inputting all that information into the
Yeah.
into the platform. And so
Yeah.
how are returns handled?
So right now there's a couple of things that's happening right now. Customers can reach out directly to Whatnot support, and Whatnot support can deal with the seller in the back office. So you like I'll get an email and Whatnot support, a customer service rep will say, "Hey, we had this customer reach out. They received an X item when they were supposed to receive a Y item. Do you still have the Y item? Yes, I do. Sorry, got swapped." And then we deal with it. We get a label generated. Whatnot customer support service is excellent. They're very timely. They reach out really quick. So I'm usually the one that's dealing with that. If there's any error, we take care of it right away. Or a customer can reach out to you in your DMs on Whatnot, which is a direct message format between the customer and yourself, and they can let you know. And then you can also coordinate directly with Whatnot support to get that label generated and corrected for the customer. So it's either or.
Great. You mentioned the example of a swap, but how about if something just doesn't fit or it's not right? Can they be refunded?
That's everything that Whatnot support handles. But yes,
Okay.
I think they could get credited back for, let's say I showed an item and I was running 500 items that day and I happened to miss a little hole in the t-shirt.
Yeah,
And that is something I misspoke about because I didn't show it. Then the customer can definitely get their money back. It gets credited directly onto their credit card as a refund.
I see. And then you would probably lose on the commission that you had already paid. Is that correct?
Correct. So what
Yeah.
Whatnot will do, even in the cases where I'm not able to replace an item, they will do a ledger adjustment. So let's just say I don't have the item that the customer is supposed to get. It got shipped somewhere else, or there was a mistake with the item. Then we will just see a negative ledger balance adjustment on my record for the item being shipped out.
Sure. And that provides incentive for the seller to be extremely truthful in what they're putting out there and knowing their customer and what they're going to like.
Absolutely. And that's
Yeah.
another beauty of live streaming is you're showing everything. And
Yeah.
if you're a good streamer, you're trying to show the front, the back, the side, you're talking about the item. Of course, we're humans, we're not robots, and mistakes can happen periodically. But live streaming provides such a seamless process for a customer because they're visually seeing that product. And with the current technology and phones and the lights, you can't hide that stuff, right? So it's
Yeah. Yeah.
beautiful
Yeah.
because there's so much transparency with what you're doing as a business.
And this is a good example of best practices that I was going to ask you about for someone wanting to get into it because you are this rock star on the platform. What
Thank
are
you.
some tips or a tip for someone to get noticed and attract followers who's new to the program?
I think my biggest advice for that is to be a brand and to know what you stand for. I think just like any business or any job, there's always going to be so much competition and so many people with different personalities and different things they're providing or bringing to the table. So I think first thing is to focus on you yourself and say, what am I doing that's a little bit unique from people left and right of me? And I think that is something I focused on from the start was my styling, my fashion, my aesthetic, things that I like, what I like to wear, if I'm edgy, if I stand out. And I think if you stay true and authentic to yourself and your brand, people in live streaming will just naturally connect with you and you'll find your crowd because there's such a, like I said, level of diversity in the platform that you just need to find your crowd and that will come with time. But if you can just figure out what your brand is, it'll happen naturally.
Be yourself.
Yeah, 100%, especially with
Mm.
live streaming, right?
Yeah.
Like at some point, like you can't fake it till you make it. You gotta be yourself because people will see through that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just makes life easier. You're just
It
yourself.
does.
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And I always say this to different because we do have sellers that are more extroverted and we have sellers that are more introverted and some are more loud and passionate and some are more quiet and reserved. But the beauty of the platform is there's a customer for each and every one of them because
Yeah.
I always say this, I will not be everyone's cup of tea and I'm okay with that. But I know my people that love me will truly love me for what I stand for and what I believe in. So that's the case there with branding as well.
Mm, that's so true and so important. And any tips for growing sales on the platform? Things that you're doing on the back end or strategies that you're using?
Yeah, what helped me scaled is I think the tenacity to constantly innovate and grow. I think Whatnot is such a place that is filled with rock stars that are constantly bringing the best of the best inventory to the platform. I think you trying to research hey, what else can I bring next? How else can I be more creative? What else can I show my customers? Can truly go a long way. So what helped me scaled was staying consistent on the platform and showing up every single day. Two, figuring out how I'm going to constantly innovate and bring better inventory. And then three, just figuring out like what makes you happy. And I think the sales will follow. So I think when I
Yeah.
started to do streams that truly made me happy, because I was having so much fun doing them, the sales just started coming right after that automatically.
Someone recently sat down with me and asked me to volunteer for the next couple of years for this board position, and I had said no to previous people in the past, but he was so passionate and so enthusiastic, and the vision that he laid out, the only answer for me was yes.
Yes.
So I totally, get that. That's a really important.
That's awesome.
What is the biggest challenge you've come across in growing your business or working on the platform?
For me, initially, what stumped me was the lack of space and the lack of ability to grow because I felt I was in a little bit of a like a claustrophobic situation with my previous spot, right? I think,
Sure.
but the thing about it is, and this is kind of something that I personally struggled with because I knew if this was going to be my full time job and I was going to retire my parents who do rely on my income, since I'm the breadwinner, I knew I had to scale. So, you can really be content with the 700 square foot apartment and do business that stays within that realms of that. For me, it wasn't working because I knew what I had to do to scale. So I think that has been a big challenge for me initially was how do I get more inventory in here? I can't bulk buy because I have too small of a space. And so that is a challenge I was able to resolve when I moved to a house
Mm.
and expanded. Another thing was just to figure out, okay, how do I make my inventory better? There was a time where I may have had one supplier that I was dealing with, maybe two. And at some point, that is simply not enough because you're starting to do, like you said earlier, I had 58,000 units sold. You need more people that you work with and connections that you have. So you have a constant rotation of inventory coming in on top of what you're bringing yourself. So that was another thing that I struggled with. But when I moved to Vegas, I made a mission and I said, I'm going to find 10 or new more sources that will constantly provide me with inventory. And that took almost a year of building connections, but I've finally done it. So those are the two things that were roadblocks for me, but now have started to kind of pan themselves out as not being roadblocks. So that's been
Is
great.
Yeah. Is there a most memorable or special sale or customer purchase that comes into mind?
I feel like there's several cases like that that I'm very proud of, but it's typically like when I have a show that I'm very, very like just in awe that I'm able to do this right now. So there,
Mhm.
I put on whatnot fashion shows, right? It's something that I've been the one of the only sellers to do, and what I've done is because I love fashion, I love styling, and this is before even whatnot. I would spend hours watching like runway shows and like designer shows. It's just something I genuinely enjoy. And so one of my goals when I started whatnot was I would love to have my own fashion shows. Like that would be a dream come true. And I
Mm.
did not understand how I would incorporate that into live streaming, but you know what? We put it together and now I've done 4 or 5 of them and they've been a huge success. And what I do is like my last one, I was able to get a few of my girlfriends who are streamers on Whatnot that I've become close to. They flew to Vegas. We put together an entire show. I called it the Royals Court, the Queen's Court. And I had these phenomenal formal gowns. We all dressed like royalties. And I was the visionary behind it. So I styled every single piece, every single accessory, every single person of different size, color. All of that was taken into consideration. It was a huge production, but I'm very proud of it because it panned out to be an amazing show and one of my most viewed shows to date. So I'm very, very happy with it.
And your dream was
Mhm.
realized.
It was realized and it's all through a freaking app, and I love it.
Well, and the fact that you had that vision, you had that dream, that goal, you and set that intention without knowing how it could possibly manifest.
Right.
And yet here you are going down the path of something a little bit different and then suddenly see that, yes, this is a way that I could make this happen. So I love that.
Exactly.
Too many people don't even set the goal or the intention when they can't see how it can manifest.
Yes, and I think that's the thing about having your own business or a side hustle or where I think creativity is could be endless. And I
Mm,
literally sat there with a drawing pad and I thought, how would I take a fashion show, but turn it into sales because I have to make money if I'm putting in all this effort on a live selling platform. And I actually kept that a silent show. It was my silent show, as in there's no talking or explaining, but everything is loaded into the store. All you're bidding on is the creative process of styling and viewing things in front of you that are presented to you and just music in the background. But it ended up being a very successful vision and show. And I'm able to rinse and repeat the show 4 or 5 times now. And I'll probably do a lot more. But, like you said, if you have a goal, if you just figure it out, it can pan out a lot better than we think or expect.
Hmm. Actually, speaking of which has been your biggest surprise or something that you didn't anticipate in running or growing this business?
I think I'm truly shocked how much I've scaled and how much growth has come out of this business in the
Right.
last year. I knew of success stories on Whatnot and other businesses. I just never thought that would be me. I never thought a girl
Mm.
who was new in the industry, 2 years in women's fashion, who has nothing but finance in her background, would be able to succeed in an industry she knows nothing about. But I am truly surprised by the growth that has been part of my journey and how much more I anticipate next year by working hard and hopefully scaling. So I'm just surprised, I think, that I am the type of business I am right now. Because this would be like if you had told me I was going to be living this life when I was in my corporate job 2 years ago, I would have probably looked at you like you were crazy. but but the fact that I'm here right now and this is my job and I show up for work and sell women's clothing every single day, I could not be happier. It is such a phenomenal job for me. And I feel like it fits me because I've been wanting a creative field like this for years. Like it has been my secret desire. And now I'm living it. So I love that.
To what do you attribute your success on the platform?
You know what? I have to say there's a lot that goes behind the scenes. So I have to give credit to my team, my parents who have truly like held my hand through this because they could have been like, why would you leave your 6-figure finance job to do this? You're crazy.
For
But
sure.
instead I was given the go ahead, kudos, kid, go get it done. I know you're not going to fail in anything that you do because I am a hard worker. I've always been a hard worker. So I think I'm going to give them a big credit. I have to give credit to Whatnot because without them, of course, I wouldn't even be here. That platform has been very, very supportive of me and my journey on the entire process. And then I think hard work. I don't think you
Yeah.
can succeed in any side hustle or any sort of job like this unless you're truly willing to have your blood, sweat, and tears in it. And I think I did all of that.
Awesome. Well, what's the best way for our
Yes.
listeners to connect with you, Zoreen?
Sure. So I on Whatnot, my username is ZK Style. You
Okay.
can find the link for that on my Instagram or TikTok, which is ZK Styles _ official. There's a link there. If you are new to the platform, you actually get $15 credit to sign up for it through that link, which is free money. So we all love that. So feel free to hit that. And this
Awesome.
way you can find me on there.
And we'll definitely make sure all those links are in the show notes.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Joan.
So, what's your best tip? Your very best tip to inspire others to start or to grow their side hustle dream?
Do it. I mean, I know it sounds so simple, but just like do it. I will tell you this, when I was confused about what I wanted to do in life and I had a really stable job, I met somebody who told me this one line and it changed my life. And they said, best things in life lie on the other side of fear. And when I heard that, for some reason, it just clicked in my brain. And I was just scared to leave something so stable for something so unstable. But I knew I had to be done. I felt it in my body. So I think rip the band-aid off, do it, get started. I think you would be surprised with what's on the other side, right? Like this isn't me saying, of course, quit your job or anything like that, but anything
No.
you've been wanting to do, whether it's a side hustle, whether you've been wanting to start something creative on the side, because everybody's situation is different and their backgrounds are different and their family needs are different. I'm luckily in a position where I was able to do that. I have savings and things like that. But if you have anything you're looking to start, which might not be your traditional route or path, and you're like, should I do it? Just do it. And I think if you just stick with it, you might be very surprised by the results in the end.
Might be surprised just how much talent and potential and possibility lies dormant within you that will be unleashed from starting your side hustle.
You nailed it. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Zoreen, for giving us an insight into Whatnot, how it works for you, success tips on that platform. And thank you for being today's side hustle hero.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Joan. Thanks for your time.